Welcome back, awkward insurance friends. I am Dustin Bryant, your exhausted yet emphatically excited host today. Kat is still out taking some much needed time to focus on herself. Our guest today, let's get into our guest, and then I'm going to kind of share why this has been a week for me. We have Amy MacDonald as our awkward friend today. Amy works for Nationwide Insurance, and she has for almost 20 years. And moved over to the pet team 6 years ago. Being able to tie her personal passion of pets and her professional career of insurance is her dream, and peace of mind that insurance brings when things go wrong is why she loves her job. Welcome to Awkward Insurance.
Thank you. Happy to be here. And trust me,
We're
I'll
so
be
happy to
awkward.
have you. What did you say?
Don't worry, I'll be awkward.
Awesome. This is going to be a little awkward today. You guys, we're on a different platform right now. So if we talk over each other, we're just going to have to say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. And everyone knows by now that once I need to say something, my mouth just opens and vomits all over the place. So I'll try so hard not to talk over you today, Amy. But this has been a week for me. Amy, do you have any children?
I do. I have 4 stepchildren.
Like preteen, you don't have to tell us their ages. Young kids, older kids, preteen kids.
Preteen to trying to be an adult.
Oh my gosh. So that is what I am struggling with right now. I am discovering all the joys that are coming with being a preteen girl mom. And without saying too much, there's lines to read between there. Being a preteen girl mom has been a trip, to say the least. Can you empathize with that at all? Please tell me I'm not alone.
Can totally emphasize when you said it's a trip. I'm like, yep, strap in because it's going to be a bumpy ride.
Man, is it a thing for preteens to wear the same hoodie every day of their life? Am I not alone in that? Should I just let that one go? Is that a fight that I don't need to be fighting?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, God.
And when they're in the shower, grab it to wash it, and that's about it.
Hey, okay, so that must be the trick.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, you guys, but you may have already guessed from our introduction with Amy that she is here to help me, and you guys too. It might be you guys, but honestly, me, understand why I don't have pet insurance, but I should. I've got 2 puppers, and they both have their problems. One probably needs to be in a psychiatric unit for puppies. And the other one, I don't know what to do about her ears, but my gosh, her ears have been a problem since she was a puppy. And this is actually very good timing because it's open enrollment for me. I know it's mid-year, but it's open enrollment for me. And I've actually heard that our employer, the National Alliance, offers access to pet insurance. And I've never thought about it before. I've always known that it's there. And even as an insurance agent, I had contracts with Safeco and Liberty Mutual, and I know that they had access to pet insurance too, but I never offered it. So maybe your open enrollment by the time this episode airs, it should be a few months, maybe a little bit more before other people's open enrollment comes up, which gives you enough time to ask your leadership for some other benefits like this and where to go and find that. Or maybe you're the leadership, and after you hear this podcast, it might be something that you want to offer to your team. I'm not really sure how that feels as an employee yet because I've not actually accepted the pet insurance, but maybe after today's conversation, I will. I've got 4 more days, I think. HR is going to kill me. I think I've got like 3 or 4 days left in open enrollment. So, okay, I wanted to talk about that. We'll give you a second. Let's go ahead and find out all about Amy. We know that she's got kiddos and she's in the same awkward stage of life and parenting as I am, but what else is there to know about Amy? How did you start in insurance?
I think I started in insurance the way most people do, telling their insurance parent that you would never go into the industry and then failing miserably at it because here I am.
I noticed that you were, was it an account manager or a producer for Barton Insurance? So I just kind of made that connection that either you own that or that was a parent thing. So you're a second generation insurance weirdo.
Yes, exactly. Like many of us
What was it about
are.
what your parents did that, eventually pushed you into insurance?
I didn't think that it was flashy or exciting enough, and I still don't, because even though it's pet insurance and people are curious, when you say you do insurance, and maybe not you, Dustin, you have a much bigger personality, but people normally stick me in the corner with the lawyers. But what I love about insurance is that you're helping people during their like darkest hour. They have a house fire, insurance comes in. You're in a car accident, insurance comes in. Your pet has some drastic issue, insurance comes in. We're there. We're the silver lining on the cloudy day. And there's just good people here. We might be weird, we might be awkward, but we're good, solid workers. We have fun and we take care of each other.
Oh my gosh, I feel the same way. The fun part of insurance for me, well, it's kind of all of it. But the most fun part is being there for someone. I've been doing some kind of back thought process about what it is in insurance that really, like, there's producers, there's underwriters, there's claims reps, there's actuaries. And why do I like doing what I do? I grew up in insurance as the support role, the CSR, the account manager, the department leader to help others. What about, like, why did I never want to go into producing? It was because I loved helping other people, whether that was helping a client understand something or being there when they were most, okay. There's like so many thoughts in my head right now. Like the phone calls that you get, there's nothing that I can do for a client when they are at the scene of an accident because I can't physically get in my car and go to them and help them at that moment. But there's something about being there at that moment where you just are able to say, are you okay? And are you in a safe place that helps calm that person just a little bit to have somebody on the phone with them because their brain is fried. And knowing that I could be that person, like, oh, you thought to call me first instead of 911. That's great. Let me see what I can do to help you. That's the part of me that thrives in insurance. And it's the same with producers or other CSRs. It's what can I do to help you succeed? And so I share that sentiment with you so much. That's the part that I love. And so I think that's why I love what I do here at the National Alliance, even is that when somebody calls and says, I have a claim, can you help me? I'm like, yes, yes, I can. I don't know that I'm going to have the right answer, but we can at least bounce the ideas off of each other. Let's go. Let me hear all about it. So I love that. And then you went into pet insurance. So were you like on the personal line side where you did the home and the auto? What
Yep.
about pet insurance? Like I would, okay, number one, I knew that there was pet insurance, but I didn't know that it was like a niche market enough to require specialized pet insurance people. You just
Oh,
like, I swear, if you guys could see her face, she just had this huge grin on her face and nodded so fast, like, yes, that's me.
yep, that does. I think Nationwide has over 750 employees actually in our pet division. So
Wow.
the
Holy
claims,
cow.
the underwriting, the product, the sales team, all of those different folks, absolutely. And I've always been a pet lover. I have adopted so many pets, all of the charities I give to them. I want to help other people's pets, etc. But just being able to do pet insurance, like I said, tying together the personal and professional, it just fit perfectly. And pet insurance is so it's pet health insurance. It's not like, oh, scratch and dent my car and go get it fixed, but it's more like your medical health insurance. But it just, like I said, it helps with those absolutely devastating days when something goes horribly wrong. It's really the crisis or the emergency coverage that you need.
How did you stumble into being a pet insurance professional, though? How'd you go from home and auto? I mean, I don't know. To me, my brain would be like, home and auto is solid. Pet insurance is weird. Like, do I really want to focus on just pet insurance? What was that? What is that?
Well, that was just my normal development and okay, what jobs does Nationwide have out there? I would just scroll through the pages of 1,000 jobs and be like, okay, what's an actuary? Nope, don't want to do that. Okay, what's a SIU person? Ah, that's interesting. I have no claims experience. They're never going to hire
Would
me.
love to be an SIU person. That is so interesting to me. Like I'm this amateur sleuth, which I think every insurance agent is an amateur sleuth because you have to look up property tax records and you can start to tell by your client's tone of voice. You're like, ooh, something's going on. Let me jump on Court Connect real quick and figure out. Okay. So SIU would be totally cool. Okay. Keep going. Sorry.
Yep. So it was just a matter of seeing a job title and seeing what it was about. Called the recruiter, talked to people who had the existing role, and it sounded amazing. Being able to talk about pets all day just sounded like fun. How can you have a bad day when at the end of the day you talked about dogs, cats, lizards, and birds?
Dogs, cats, lizards. Oh my gosh. Okay, so now you're a pet agent, and is that what you do? Like you're a marketer for pet insurance? You let other people know or other agents know about pet insurance, or you go to trade shows and okay, wait a second. I seem to recall a conversation when Kat and I and you were on the phone and you were at the Florida conference and you're the booth with the pets. No? That's somebody else.
No.
Not you. That's a genius
We
idea, though. I mean, to bring it, I think it had something to do with adoptable pets, and they brought the pets and had them in it. Oh my gosh,
we
that's an
do that.
awesome idea.
We do. Nationwide in general does do that. I actually work on the team that you were talking about, the group benefits. So I talk to employers and HR managers about adding pet insurance for their employees because it's the best benefit out there because you get people thinking about their fuzzy four-legged family members and then they get all gushy and happy. And then we say, we're going to help you take care of them. And all of a sudden, HR is the hero because they're giving you a way to take care of your babies. We do have teams that go to trade shows. We do have direct to consumer sales. I just get to flex the other side and help employers bring it to their employees.
I love that you use the word flex. You get to flex. I love that word, but that's just like that's the weird preteen mom in me still trying to make sure that I'm not feeling old, which I am. Oh my gosh. Okay. Now, so what is the value add specifically when you're talking to group? Like if somebody right now is listening and they're like, I would really love to be able to have this. How can I talk my employer into getting this? What is the value add for that? Is it just the more benefits that you can deduct from your paycheck, the less you think about it? What's the brain power there?
All of the above. So, more benefits. It is very hard to attract and retain employees these days. So, more benefits, the better. Everybody loves their pets. It's a lot more fun to talk about than critical care insurance or death benefits or even dental.
Is it though? Because when I think of pet insurance, I don't want to think about my doggy dying.
No, just ill. Ear infection. You said your dogs have ear infections all the time. Or jump off the couch and break their front paws, those
Oh
kind of
my
things.
gosh. I think one of my grandparents had a dachshund. The long back doggies
Yeah.
jumped off the couch and broke their back. I didn't know that was a thing. Apparently, broken backs is a common thing for dachshunds.
Yeah. And when you look at benefits, the idea for the employers is to be able to take burden off their employees. Most of us can't handle a $500 to $1,000 emergency. They all say we have the rainy day fund, but it all disappears into vacations and shopping and coffees, whatever.
Rising costs of gas. No, yeah, no,
But
absolutely. No. So I've got these two dogs. I have a small, I'm looking at them right now. I have a small, what is that thing? Jack Russell mutt of some kind. He's a tiny little white ghost dog. We call him a potbelly pig because he really looks like a potbelly pig. And he's got a pink nose and he's got short little ears. And when he goes outside and drinks the entire water bowl so that the other dog can't have any, he comes in waddling and his belly may be millimeters from the floor. He looks like a potbelly pig. So we call him Pig Dog. And then we have Daisy. She's our bigger dog. She's a dumpster dog is what we call her. She was found dropped off by a dumpster. We had just lost two of our dogs. And so we went and we got her. We had no idea what she was. It was either going to be a Rottweiler. She had the markings of a Rott or some kind of black and tan hound dog. We just needed to see how long those ears were going to grow. She, of course, still had her tails. It hadn't been docked like Rotties, but she turned into a beautiful, what I believe is a mix between a Labrador and either a Rottweiler or a Lab and a black and tan. Anyways, but she's got these ears that are kind of like a Labrador, but a little bit longer. And we have had ongoing ear infections with this dog since the day she could shake her head. Yeah, it's a constant situation. They've tried to refer us to specialists. I didn't even know there were doggy specialists, to be honest with you, but there's doggy specialists. So if my dog has, I'm thinking health insurance now, if my dog has a pre-existing condition, how does pet insurance help me? Will it help me?
That's a good question. So pre-existing conditions are excluded. However, ear infections are normally seen as individual acute instances. So you heal one and then another one develops.
Pretty sure this ear infection has never been healed.
That's fair. But you did bring up a good point because specialists are also covered. And most pet insurance companies, because it's a reimbursement, you can go to any veterinarian. There's no in network or out of network like human health insurance.
Oh, that's good to know.
Also helpful on nights, weekends, and holidays when you have to take Fido to the emergency clinic because they're going to charge you $100 just for walking through the door. Still covered by insurance.
Oh my God, let's talk about that. We had a boxer. This dog was destined for disaster the moment he was born. We got him, he was a runt. I'm trying to recall memory here, which anybody who knows me knows that my memory recall is not the best. He was a runt. We got him when my husband and I got married. We took him to the pet store, and this thing, he's like the size of a teacup dog at this point. He was a brand new little puppy, and the owners that bred them were going out of town, and they knew that they couldn't leave him with the rest of the litter because they wouldn't let him have access to the mom. So we took this little dog. He had so many issues. He had some seizures. He never really had full control of his bladder. He went outside and ate a tree nut once, and we found out he was allergic to tree nuts. We got him neutered. There's no calming this dog down. Of course, he had the cone of shame. He ripped his stitches open 3 times. One time, they were on, it was on a weekend, and he was bleeding. Never knew that there were emergency vets. Of course, we figured out there were. We went down to the emergency vet. My husband and I were we were beside ourselves. And if my husband and I have a very sarcastic way of handling trauma. Okay. So we make jokes. They may or may not be appropriate. We fail sometimes to understand that certain people are very connected to animals. Our daughter is one of them. You cannot be sarcastic about her animals without her getting offended. You have to be careful around her. Well, apparently people at veterinary emergency places are very connected to animals. So we're sitting in there and they're asking us about our dog's history and if he has any ailments. And I think my husband says something to the effect, not unless you call being stupid an ailment. And she quips back, it sounds like you don't have the right dog. And I was, okay, now. We were joking. And this dog is literally ripping himself a hole in his own body. You know, those were the most expensive stitches, though. Oh my gosh. We called those the stitches of gold. You better bet that we watched him like a freaking hawk after getting those stitches to make sure that they did not come out again. Emergency vets were nuts. But what was even funnier is the amount of dogs that came into that emergency clinic that were frequent flyers, if you will. But yes, you're right. Emergency vets are crazy expensive. And heaven forbid you have to leave them there overnight. That's even more expensive.
Right. Well, and it sounds like you said that you and your husband can sometimes make jokes about dogs, and a lot of people do. I know when I am at an event, I'm selling pet insurance one-on-one. The husband will say, oh, if there's anything wrong with my dog, I'll just let him go. Well, you should see the dirty faces you get from the wives. And it's really easy to say that until you're at that emergency clinic and they say, okay, this is what we need to do. You pretty much hand them your wallet. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yes.
So-
Absolutely. You're like on your phone checking the balances for every credit card you have and figuring out how to split that cost up. Yes, I know that all too well.
Right.
And I definitely know that while my husband will make jokes about those dogs, he is slightly more connected to the animals than I am, to be honest with you. And he's the one that was affected most by the passing of our dogs. So he went, those two dogs in particular, he went to the first appointment. He had cancer, needed to be put down. It had progressed really bad. It wasn't even like, let's try and see if we can beat this thing. So he went to that one. And then the female dog that we had, she had pretty much raised that dog. Logan was his name, the boxer. She had pretty much raised him from a puppy. And 1 month after, she developed a neurological situation
Yep.
that could only be attributed to just a broken heart. And she was ready to let go. She was older than him anyways. So my husband was like, I can't. I can't go. I have to go. So I had to take her. She was my dog. She went through the pregnancy with me and she gave hugs. Gave the best hugs. Her name was Lola. Lola gave the best hugs. But yeah, that's really hard and it really does impact you. So in that manner, does pet insurance try to get back on track so I can stop crying? Suck it up. Okay. Does pet insurance cover the end of life stages for doggies too?
Yes, pet insurance does cover the end of life. So when you're faced with that terrible, horrific time, you're then not also hit with the bill. And I mean, you'd pay it, but you know you're going to get paid back for it because that's not necessarily cheap either. And I hate to say it, you're pretty much like making my case for me. Our pets are our family. So you want to be able to take care of them. And that's why to be able to give the best care, that's why you get pet insurance. If I can share the quick story, Nationwide Pet has been around for 40 years. Our first dog insured was Lassie. So,
Lassie, like the
yeah,
legitimate Lassie?
the
No
legit Lassie.
way. That's amazing. I didn't know that.
Yeah. But the foundation of pet insurance was veterinarians who were frustrated people are making the decision based on the dollar amount and not the decision on the best care. And that was 40 years ago. Now they can do pretty much everything we do for humans, you can do for dogs or cats or other animals. They have specialists, they have cancer treatment. I put a greyhound through chemo and radiation. And this was after we took her front left leg. So they can do it all. And luckily, pet insurance helped out with all of that. They
How
did
many
not
pets do you have, Amy?
currently, I have two.
What kind of pets do you have?
They are Great Pyrenees mixes, and they're tall, skinny, goofball dogs. Don't ask how many I've had total in my life. It is 26.
Whoa. I like the way you cleared your throat first. Like, let me get this out. So, what kind of pets does pet insurance cover? Not just dogs and not just cats, I would assume.
Right. So depends on your pet insurance company. I only know Nationwide. Ding. Dogs and cats.
Ding.
Ding. No exclusions on breeds there. And then we also insure birds. So
So no exclusions, like even on vicious dog, what are considered vicious dog. Don't you guys, I swear, I do not want comments on there are no such things as vicious dogs. It's just verbiage. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to, but no, what's the more PC term?
I think that is
Ban,
banned breeds, but no exclusions on any breeds for dogs or cats.
Cool.
Then we insure birds, so parrots, cockatiels, parakeets, whatever, lovebirds, doves, whatever you have. And then exotics, which you're mainly just talking about turtles, reptiles, iguanas, those kind of things. And your small pets like gerbils, hamsters, ferrets, sugar gliders, the small little guys that live in cages.
Cute.
Yeah.
Okay, so with pet insurance, is it kind of like health insurance where you buy family coverage and it doesn't matter how many pets you have, or you have to schedule each one of your pets?
It's individual coverage. Yes.
Okay, because I was just thinking about the person that might like pick up the stray and be like, this is my dog, and go and get them the help that they need, and then
Right.
Loopholes. Blanket coverage for animals. Okay, so that brings up a question. I am looking at the website right now that I have from my employer, and it goes through our paycheck management system, whatever. So I get on here and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 options for pet insurance. Your
Wow.
face was like, whoa. 8 options for pet insurance. Your face was like, whoa. 8 options for pet insurance. Nationwide is one of them. There's Pets Best, Healthy Paws, Embrace, Liberty Mutual, MetLife, POP, PAWP, and Pet Partners. How do I choose one?
That's a great question. It's kind of like picking your auto insurance. The coverages are going to be very similar. So you want to go with a name you trust and you want to look at some of the features that might be different. They can have different deductibles. Some of them are annual or per occurrence, or it might just be a higher or lower deductible. Some of them have exclusions. So the pre-existing is pretty standard for all carriers, but some of them have exclusions for hereditary. You mentioned dachshunds earlier. Some companies automatically exclude back issues because they pretty much know
Really?
they're going to have one.
Yeah. So if a dog, if a particular dog breed is known to have a particular issue, do they I think is German Shepherds commonly get hip dysplasia? Would that be something that's excluded for German Shepherds?
Yep, with some carriers. So you want to check for that.
Yeah.
Yep. And you can also always ask your veterinarian. They don't necessarily work with us quite like human health doctors do, but they know what else is out there and they may have coverage as well. So just go to your other trusted pet places and see what they offer. And then, of course, just look at cost and what you need. So you might not want to have wellness coverage that covers their flea and tick treatment. You can probably budget for that out of pocket, or maybe
That'd be
you do
so
want it
expensive. We
included.
use that little gray collar. What's it? Seresto. But that's good to know that the flea and tick and
Can be covered.
Seresto's like $80 or $90, I think, when you go and get that. Ooh, what about heartworms?
Covered.
Covered. She just says covered. That's expensive crap right there.
It is.
That was one thing that we discovered on our old dog, my hugging dog. And when we started, some of our processes with her, we actually we didn't think she was at end of life quite yet. We tried to help with some of the neurological stuff. They tried to refer us to a neurological doggy doctor. Did not know that existed, but it does. A neurological doggy doctor. But then we found out she also had heartworms, even though we did try prevention measures. It was just too much. But they did quote the heartworm treatment, and that was a lot.
Yes. So the average cost of owning a dog mid-range is $27,000 over their lifetime. High range runs more $40,000. Cats are very similar, $20,000 mid-range, $30,000 for the high range. So that also includes things not covered under pet health insurance. So like their food, can't get reimbursed for the chewing up of all the things. My dogs have a birthday party. That's not covered by health insurance.
A
Christmas
birthday party.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Get them new bandanas every year.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. I've got a friend that I call a crazy dog mom, and the way she announced her pregnancy to me was by putting Big Brother bandanas on her doggies. And I was just like, "Oh, their new bandanas are so cute." I didn't see. I wasn't paying attention, and it was like a day later. She's like, "I don't think you zoomed in on the bandana." Look a little closer.
See?
Oh my goodness, that's hilarious. What about? I just had this thought. What about show dogs?
Yeah. I actually met someone who has 5 and they're all insured.
Okay, so the
Oh, yeah.
cost, I would assume for a show dog, the premium I'm talking for a policy is a lot higher maybe for a show dog than my
You would
dumpster dog over
think,
here.
but we don't rate on that many things. It's normally their age and breed and then what state you're in, just because the states all make us file with them because, it's insurance.
Right.
But no, show dogs are covered. We'll cover canine cops. We'll cover therapy dogs.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I've learned a lot today. I think I have one more question.
Okay.
Is catnip a covered medication?
If it is prescribed by a veterinarian, yes.
Oh my gosh. I only had to ask that because you guys were recording, I think, just a couple of days after the infamous 420 day. And I did a webinar on cannabis. So cannabis and the homeowners insurance, it's all on my mind right now. And I just thought, you know what? I have to ask, is catnip a covered medication? And then I'm going to have to apply a cat's homeowner policy to catnip. Maybe I need to have a parity to the cannabis and the homeowners. and just have a little fun with it or something. Catnip in the, I don't know, what do you keep your cats in? Catnip in the cat carrier
Cat
policy.
carrier.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Great. Well, I think I'm actually going to spend some time looking at some of these pet health options. Although I just thought of another question before we leave. My dogs are older. My pig dog, he's older. I think he's probably somewhere in the age of 12 to 13 years. When's the best time to buy pet insurance? Because am I too late in the game and I should just keep going and maybe start fresh when we have a new puppy? Or are we like, is 1 to 2 years of life still a good time to buy?
It's always a good time because you never know what's going to come up. And actually, at end of life, sometimes there's a lot more testing, screening, and all of that's expensive, even if we don't know what it is, or if we choose not to medicate or care for it, then the cost just to figure out what's going on can be pricey. Ideally, you want to insure your pet before they have any of those things that's going to be pre-existing. But even if we exclude one item, you still have coverage for everything else. So there's any time to buy pet insurance, which brings up a good point. Even though you're at open enrollment now, you can enroll in pet insurance anytime. There's no qualifying event. You don't have to wait till they get married.
I adopted a new dog. I've had a qualifying life event.
Exactly.
I've truly enjoyed having this conversation with you. I've been saving all of my questions. Like I said, I guess it doesn't matter about open enrollment now. I've got time to figure this out. Is there anything else that you would like to say about yourself? Anything coming up? Anything you're excited about? Or just pet insurance in general?
I just think it's so cool. I've been with pet insurance for 6 years, and I used to get the same response. You really do that? You really sell it? And it's a lot more common now. I'm sure you know people during the pandemic who were stuck home. They went and got a pet, or we were home with our pets more and taking better care of them. So I think it's only going to grow. And I think pets are going to continue to be a huge part of our life. So just like you're going to go check it out, everyone who's listening should go check it out and at least see what it's all about. So thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So some of the underlying tones that I heard is that if you're not happy with being in insurance right now, before you get out of it, check out being a pet insurance agent. I think I might have something to aspire to. Thank you so much for your conversation today, Amy. I'm so happy that we had a chance to talk about pet insurance. I know that once my daughter listens to this episode, she's going to be asking why we don't have pet insurance if I haven't purchased them by the time this episode airs. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for hanging around and listening to another awkward conversation in insurance. Stay tuned for new episodes from Awkward Insurance wherever you listen to your podcasts. And be sure to check out the National Alliance on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or at scic.com. Now go forth and be awkward. Toodles!